Good morning, good noon, good evening. Wherever time and place you're listening to us from, straight from the 909, it's Mark, Andre, and myself, Isaiah, and together, that's hip-hop.
That's hip-hop.
Today, we have the honor to talk about one of hip-hop's greatest scholars. And I'm actually kind of mad we didn't get to see him yet because we had an opportunity to, but it's okay. We'll make room for that again. The Blastmaster. Knowledge reigns supreme. KRS One. I almost kind of feel like it should have like an echo or something. But
he's going to have that one sound effect that goes.
But we are covering a classic album today, gentlemen. Boogie Down Productions' debut LP, Criminal Minded. Released March 3rd, 1987 by B-Boy Records. On the mix, we have DJ Scott LaRock, D Nice, and the rest of the Boogie Down Productions crew. A very influential album. In here, we have the beginning of the Bridge Wars, sort of on wax. We have tracks about the street. We have tracks about poetry, self-awareness, government, hollering at girls. It's kind of all here in the early beginnings. And this album is one of those albums that it's just one of those albums that take you back into a place in time.
Encapsulating the time and era of the beauty about it is that you get the centralized area of the Bronx, of just that area. It's like concentrated music. Yeah.
And it's a early time in gangsta rap era. KRS One and DJ Scott LaRock were able to get South Bronx in wide circulation prior to releasing this album. And that alone gave a jaw-dropping first impression, and it set the standard for hardcore underground hip-hop. So what were your guys' thoughts, going into this album and covering this album today?
When I had the transparent folder, like the see-through folder that used to have different albums and stuff in it, I had an article from, I want to say Time or People Magazine. People Magazine did this top 20 hip hop albums that you must listen to. And I vowed to listen to all the albums that were on there. And I got a good majority of them completed. And I know that this one was sitting right in the middle. And they boast the main thing that you have to pay attention to while you're listening to this album is that it's the importance of, like we mentioned earlier right now, just like the bridge wars and actually bridging the gap between talking about crime, but still being very lyrical while doing it.
I see what you did there. Yeah. The bridging the gap.
And it's a pleasure to actually being able to listen to this album the last few days, because listening to KRS One again is a breath of fresh air, especially early stuff.
Has he influenced your style of rap at all? Or?
That's a great question.
No, he didn't, but I do have him high on my top MC list, because the matter of fact is I always factor in the longevity. I know he can rock a show. The one thing I did take from him is that in the DVD series called the MC, I believe it's called the MC. It's one of the hip hop DVDs I used to have back in the day. He mentions the fact that if you're at a show and you're on the bill for the show and you have at least 5 or 6 songs, you dress in layers. Dress in layers, because as you're doing that, the crowd feels a stronger connection to you, because you're really it's
unraveling.
Yeah.
Unraveling,
Blossoming.
taking layers, but you're doing that, and the crowd sees that and they become more attached to you. And
it feels like another level transformation of Frieza or something.
Yeah,
Stupid different forms.
and in turn they'll be more sympathetic.
You thought this was my final form?
Yeah.
And it works in conjunction with you actually like taking off your jacket, your hat or whatever, because it gets hot while you perform anyway. Right. But the crowd is very sympathetic to you while you're doing that. So it kind of eases you to, if you make an error or if you do something like that, it's like, no, the crowd's with you at this point. You made it a very good point. And another thing too, is that when he mentions how he writes, the way he describes how he writes, and I kind of took a lot of lessons from it, is that you have to prepare yourself to write. It's like when we are talking about dinner, or if we're thinking about dinner, what does our mouth start doing? We start salivating.
Right.
We start getting ready for it. In the same vein of doing that, it's like you just can't, whip out the legal pad and just start trying to write. Yeah. To mentally prepare yourself for that. So it's those two lessons that I've always taken from a wise man, like KRS One, and that's where I get a lot of tips and little advice from on his side.
Fun fact, remember, if anybody knows me as a lyricologist, I learned a lot from him, man. This dude, I would call him the historian. Right. Yeah, liquid death down in him. I look at he's the historian. I'm the lyricologist. Put the lyrics in front of me. I'll talk about it. He knows the history. He knows the roots of this shit. Yeah,
he's kind of like our KRS One.
Yeah. That's what it felt like. He's like, I was there day one, son. I was there at the beginning, at the Mecca. Yeah. So same deal. It's like The Bridge Is Over I was in the production thing at the time. So around this period of time when I came into KRS One, I was more into production. So I wasn't really fully into rap yet. And The Bridge Is Over beat was addictive. It was addictive. I couldn't get it out of my head. Yeah. So it was just so in my zone. So I went to where the album was from. Then I listened to it. I didn't like it at the time. Sorry. That wasn't what I was doing at the time. I was just looking for more beats. Yeah. Fast forward through time, and KRS One, in this current period of time, he actually has a YouTube channel, guys. And what KRS One does, this is very important to me. He actually teaches hip hop like a religion. He really has, yeah.
That's like the connection I see between the two.
I really watch it though. I watch it. I love that channel. The channel's great. So as he talks about hip hop, he just goes into the depths of what he's been through and what he's seen. Most of the time he's talking, he's like, I was there. I saw it. Yeah. I saw Melly Mel. He was there. Though. I looked at him.
Why does he sound exactly
I held his hand. I was there. It was the beginning. So, as I watched that, I went into his newer music that he had at the time. And everything that he was dropping in the newer period, I was like, there's something going on beyond my understanding, which made me shoot all the way back to the beginning. Then I went all the way back forward. And what I got out of this, though, the album is part of the history of what KRS One is. But the projects I felt followed this really blossomed his abilities. This is where it all started from. It changed the game. It changed the way that everybody looked at how bars were brought into the game, right? I can be hard, I could be gangster, but I can also be intelligent about what I'm saying. I can also be spiritual about what I'm saying, but I have a gun in my hand. If anything, this album is a Black Panther album. It's not a gangster album per se. I like what you say with gangster album, but I feel like it's a Black Panther album. It's more of a, mercenary. He's like a mercenary. We got a group of mercenaries together.
It's distinguished.
It's distinguished, yes. Yeah. It's not about shooting an opponent. It's about protecting what you have, protecting what's yours, protecting your borough, right? That's why we had the beefs between the boroughs. Right. And to me, what I saw here was that this album spoke for the place he resided in. We didn't have the internet yet, so everybody had to tell their story based on where they were. Right. And this is where I felt like the story of the Bronx was told.
And with that, it takes a lot of description for each song, which goes back to what we're saying. This feels like a real centralized album project. Funny that, Andre, you do mention there's actually guns on the front cover of this album. To my knowledge, this is the first hip hop album to actually have gentlemen brandishing guns on an actual rap album.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And which kind of inspired the following gangster rappers to have guns on their cover. But yeah, this is the first one.
Wow. So let's get into the album cover since we touched on that topic. I don't have the CD on this time as well, so
it's in our hearts.
Yeah, it's in our hearts. So just kind of from what you remember of it, at least, what were your thoughts about it? Go ahead.
Well, actually, we were already kind of in the descriptive.
we were already kind of talking about
it. One of the first. It is the first album cover to introduce guns on the cover, and I believe the argument against what people would consider like, oh, they're just trying to brandish guns, right, and look violent and look mean. It was more so them representing the Black Panthers, and to me, that was the seed. That the cover alone is the seed, right? It looks cool as fuck, right? On a general level.
It does, yeah.
The front cover, guns, and then the back, it's still got a gun. They don't hold the guns like they know how to hold guns, though.
yeah.
He's holding the gun all safe, man. So, but in regards to the presentation on the album cover, it's a dope photo, man. It's nothing really deep. Even just they went for the Black Panthers, and that was it.
And then there's either the album that preceded this is that they have Boogie Down Productions, By Any Means Necessary. So a lot of Malcolm X influence on that one too. So you could still take the Black revolutionary ideal, roll it into this album, and then you see that these guys definitely look like Black Panthers that decided to, pick up a microphone and a gun, one hand in each.
Yeah, I felt like this one was really simple. There wasn't much. Usually I try to go deep into what's the meaning of this. But
well, no, I think it even had a grenade in there.
Yeah,
there's a grenade.
Oh my
God. He had a grenade. He had and he had the belt.
Oh,
he had the belt
as well.
He had the belt and he had a grenade. So
I just feel like this album is still very iconic though. Like you see this album and you know that already. That's hip hop history. That's a classic. As simple as it is, it takes you into a time and place of important hip hop history. And then, it's even more significant, I think, that, DJ Scott LaRock isn't with us anymore. It's like, dang, you saw how close they were,
right?
Pretty much shoulder to shoulder.
The tragedy of this album is that you see a full display of his skill, just barely tapping this potential, sampling James Brown.
Oh, yeah, you're right, dude.
Cutting and scratching.
Yeah.
Like you have this perfect like Axis powers that you're dealing with in New York because you get DJ Premier and Guru with Gangstar, Eric B and Rakim doing their thing, and then you have Scott LaRock and KRS One.
Right.
Oh, dude, I'm getting chills thinking about it, but it's like, dude, like had Scott LaRock actually, unfortunate incidents do happen in hip hop, and this is one of them, but it's like had his full career been played out, who knows what the potential idea of Boogie Down Productions would have been. Right. Granted, this the passing of Scott LaRock actually led KRS One, like we were talking about, on a different path. So it's one of those forks in the roads where it's like, hey, look, you're looking at two different timelines of how these two, how this act, Boogie Down Productions themselves would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the way that it looks like, I think it paid in full, right? I think it paid in full on how early everybody's skills were. They were just getting started, like you said. The ball was just rolling, and unfortunately, we didn't get the ball to roll all the way. Because I wonder what he would sound like today.
Yeah.
Because I know, hey, everybody's still going, man.
Right. Yeah, Jazzy Jeff still DJing,
still going.
And I really loved his cuts. Like it just sounded special. It sounded really good at that time.
Do you feel like it influenced Doom a little bit? Because I was listening, right, and I was like, I don't know why. It feels similar to what Doom does, right? With the
I hear you now.
Playing off of the snare samples, and like rolling them through the song.
I heard Kendrick Lamar in Damn. They like it was like something gotcha or something like that.
Yeah,
a lot of that like keep repeating of that sample. I heard a lot of that.
Yeah. I feel like there may be seeds there.
Yeah.
But the way I look at KRS One is like he as the writer went full writer.
Yeah.
And that's how it felt. It felt he went full writer in that regard.
Yeah, definitely. I looked up to see just on, because I wasn't obviously around during this time. It was before our time actually. So I looked up to see what was somebody's experience, with this album, like coming of age, like what did they experience or how did they take it in? Yeah. And I found this one blogger out there. I didn't even get his name. I'm sorry about that. But anyways, he was basically talking about this album is considered a classic to him because it brings him back to that special place in time when he was coming of age, right? And so he described a time, I think he was born, I think he said 83 or something. So he was still young, but he was describing a time when he remembers going to Blockbuster and him seeing The Godfather Marlon Brando, and he wanted to see it, and his parents were like, no, you can't see that. No. Right. So, but he describes it, but when you're in school, the parents can't meddle with you. So, kids would trade CDs and albums even. And one of those was this album, Criminal Mind. And so he got his hands on it. And that's when he really kind of started to discover hip hop for himself. It was more of a self-discovery for him, because at that time, all he knew of hip hop was MC Hammer and Young MC. Like he knew,
I knew all the West Coast cats.
It was like more, this
doesn't sound like Tomo.
Very more commercial, very like,
let's do it.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was like those artists were like, when you look back at it now, you can tell like they were putting on almost like a persona. And they were trying to be more smoother than authentic.
The major label is Sense throughout. You just named Hammer, Young MC, and I just threw out Tone Loc, but those are major labels.
Right, big. And so when he gets his hands on this, he talks about how authentic it felt, and almost like it was a whole nother world, a whole nother realm, and it was just like, a different place. Because at that time, all people knew, like especially here in the West Coast or Midwest, they didn't know what was really going down in the Bronx or what was going down in the boroughs.
You can't know. You can't know.
There's no internet at that time to even know what's. So to them, it's like an imaginary world.
Yes.
And, they didn't know what was going on unless they heard it through the CD, which in his case was the case.
And can I add a little bit more to that? It's like you have to, at that point, realize there's no way to look at it this way because we are past this time period. But you have to believe what that MC is saying.
Right.
Because why would they lie? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, so someone like KRS One, who is just a genuine, honest, true writer and MC, and then MCs from that side, I just felt like what they were trying to do with this project was bridge the gap, even for individuals are in different coasts and different lands, right? Yeah. And to say that we all have these little, I'll call them providences, these little locales, we could call them boroughs, the kingdoms. I heard the 5 boroughs is the 5 kingdoms, these individual kingdoms sharing their perspective, and to me at that time, compared to present time, that was the fastest way we can get their story to you. Nowadays, I just go on live and just tell you how I feel.
Right.
But to me, this was the most authentic way we can get an idea out to other people, man. The 80s was crazy, man. If you really put it together, man.
It's wild times, guys. I wish you guys were all part of it.
Yeah, a year before I got there. A year before I showed up.
I wish you guys were a part of it. No.
A year before I arrived.
Why? Like, we're going to keep coming to this side of the road where we talk about, hey, look, like the detachment of information is always going to be prevalent in albums that are from the mid 90s to the early 80s, because, well, hell, like there was the branch of information. The only way that I could get information across is that if I'm a DJ, radio host, coast to coast, radio like DJ, like that information, even when that information that can only span as far as the news can go,
right?
It's a matter of like getting the information across, not even just not even nationwide, but statewide first. It's
what can I add on?
It's one of those things where we're going to always get to circle back onto.
Well, but that's the fun part of what we get to talk about, though, because the idea is simple. Compared to today, we had to, connect to a person as an artist, as an MC. So it's like, I want to hear your story, what your story represents to me. Right. And at that particular time, it's like, if I want to hear a story about how people are doing on the East Coast, we got to find somebody that we can connect with. We're going to find the right person. And I think about how if you wanted to hear about how people are doing in the South, you have to find what they're doing in the South some kind of way, whether it be somebody calling your phone. But compared to how things used to be back in the day, it's just like, I like the idea that an MC themselves could metaphorically represent your favorite app or website. Right? Because KRS One will have all that you're looking for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Rakim will have all that you're looking for. LL Cool J will have all that you're looking for. I like to think of LL Cool J as like a hybrid of what women would Google and what men would Google. You know what I'm saying? So that whole concept of the period of time that they were in, man, is so crazy to believe that they were even able to distribute these projects and have them spread across the country.
And they would be the pulse of the area.
Yeah.
So if you are paying attention to those specific artists, you can understand through their songs what particular turmoil or what particular like positive thing that they're going through at the time.
Right.
That's always been a fact about like a bunch of artists, is that they are the pulse of their area or the pulse of the area that they represent.
Yeah.
Yo, represent us, B. Yo, son, tell him my story, son. Tell him how I lost my arm, B.
I'm gonna tell him through the voice, through the music. I'm the pulse.
I find that pretty interesting in itself that you mentioned that pulse thing, like, because other albums too, like that I can think of, like NY State of Mind from Nas. You can see it from his perspective.
Man. Yeah.
What was another one? Was it Excursions from A Tribe Called Quest?
So let's do for example Brooklyn
Straight Outta
Most
Compton.
Death,
Straight Outta Compton.
Straight Out Compton. You got
Ambitions as a writer from Tupac. Like you can see different perspectives from different. Like I love that, and I feel like we got that here. as
Nothing
well.
But a G Thing from Dr. Dre could kind of do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's those pulse songs
Right.
that share the time and place of the artist.
Yeah.
A lot of those.
Biz Dance,
particular-
Mac Dre. Mac Dre. Hey, I'm sorry. Shout out to Mac Dre. Rest in peace. He was a very innovative MC from up north in California, man.
So before we jumped on this podcast, I was curious to how KRS raps today, if he still rap the same. And Andre was showing me, no, this guy, he's spitting now today.
Yeah. Even when I was in high school, like I was still listening to a lot of his albums. There's this album that he has called Keep Right. And oh man, I ended up using his Are You Ready for This as an introduction to like anytime I would do like, they would call me for assemblies and shit. Like, hey, host the assembly. I'm like, all right. Like, I don't know why they would trust me with that. Here's a live microphone. Go and host this sports assembly. I'm like, let's go. Let's do that shit. So yeah, they would. But I would have that as my intro. But it's like even when Are You Ready for This just starts off. So, are you ready for this? We ain't ready for this.
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude, KRS One was just like consistently just doing his thing, and honestly in his own respective lane, but people tune in, it's like he's just been doing his thing.
Yeah. I always know that he's around, which I think we have the privilege of. Like, I always feel like he's one of those like Obi-Wan Kenobi kind of guy figures.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Perfect.
I like
so
that.
Exactly that. Perfect. Obi-Wan Kenobi. I can see it in my head, or even Yoda.
Yeah.
All of his newer music is representative of the concept that rap artists only get better. They don't get worse. I don't believe you can get worse. If it sounds like they're getting worse, that means they've gotten deeper in their concept, right? Some people will say cannabis doesn't rhyme enough, and it's like, listen to what he's saying. He's that far, Right. So the newer music of KRS One to me feels like he has implemented all of the techniques and skills of his students around him, right? So he's got all the new syllable techniques. He's got the word bending techniques that you'll see battle rappers use. He's got wordplay that I've never heard him use before. He's using beat selection that sounds and represents what his period is, but he's allowing the younger and newer generation to play with it. So he might have somebody that's a trap producer like kind of tap into what he wants to do. And what he's doing in these newer albums, the last like 4 or 5 new joints he has is just, oh my God, it keeps me warm at night. I feel like what we get out of him, Kumo D, Rakim, KRS One, these are examples of MCs that just got better over the time that they were spitting. They just get better. Nas, like people would think Nas is out the door, but Nas to me has a whole new swing. Like he's doing something totally different.
The guys that started this, even to throw in Big Daddy Kane, still doing his thing,
killing it.
Like these guys, you don't lose that. Like you'll never lose it.
Cool G Rap had a verse so crazy.
Even Cool G Rap. I forget about it.
It's like having Kareem still playing basketball or something. Like they're still doing it.
But like or Iverson like really still having this like he's doing or let's say he's not super fast and he's cutting down the lane, but he has
it's the IQ.
Yeah, he has the IQ and a dribble technique that you might not be ready for. You know,
it's like when we saw Jizz alive. Like there's a certain part of me that looked and like. And thought to myself, he's not going to be the same as he was. Okay, that's always going to be there. But that's out of the window 5-10 minutes into the set.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's doing his thing.
Same thing with it's going to be the same thing along the lines of when you see Rakim perform, when you see Big Daddy Kane perform, like
LL perform.
Yeah.
Seeing LL perform. Any what Method, man? If Method's still spitting, man. So like, I just say this, and I know this. KRS One, if you want to like really get down, if I even told Zay, and Zay even had the idea as well. It's like, well, the newer KRS One albums are just gonna sound like what he was doing back in the day.
I honestly thought that.
This is the best example of a man that completely has evolved with the culture he was raised in.
Crazy.
And then I'm not gonna lie, as the lyricologist, y'all, like, fuck with these new albums, man. I'm sorry, you gotta get down with it. The newest one, I keep messing it up. IMNMCRU12. Listen to that one. That one is crazy. That one is really crazy. I'm not trying to like gas it, but it's like the expectation that I had when I first heard it was we gonna get the 90s with some new beats. Nah, he's like, I think he might have tapped into 2030 somehow. So I like the idea that the older the MC is, the more of a Yoda knowledge or an Obi-Wan knowledge we'll get out of him. Man, if Doom was still here, man.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I got you, man. So yeah, absolutely, man. I feel like the older they get, they get better. So your favorite MC now, you'll see him if he's like 45 or 50. Give him a chance. Like, listen to him. They're still going, man. That's the same with jazz musicians. Certain jazz musicians might be later in their years, but they're still dropping game-changing heat, man. So keep that on your mind.
You're missing like a stamp seal of approval.
Oh, yeah.
Like
this
gets the lyricologist.
We need like an effect or something.
Yeah. So yeah, just
we'll drop a sound effect on this or something when we get that stamp of approval.
I got you, man.
All right, so let's talk about the three we've chosen. Go ahead, Mark. What was your list?
It was going to be Criminal Minded South Bronx. And the third one, I'm gonna have to reference my notes on that, but I believe it was Criminal Minded, South Bronx, and The Bridge Is Over.
Okay.
Bridge is over.
Now we had a couple of switches.
Yeah, we was just fucking around, man. We couldn't get this shit right.
Trying to figure
I got word from our sponsor, Criminal Minded, and The Bridge Is Over as well.
Okay, I got Poetry, 9mm, and P is Free. P is free. So I think what we'll try to do is we'll try to go in order of some sort.
If we can.
Yeah, if we can.
Well, I mean, poetry is an excellent opening, so we might as well start there.
Yeah.
The whole idea, I know when I heard poetry, after all the research that I've done on them on the newer joints and coming back here, I was like, man, poetry is really like the first actual moment that, I mean, the beef tracks were before this, but this for the album, for an opening, for the beginning, this is that moment where you're like, oh, okay, he's doing something different already.
Yeah.
He's already put you in his school. He's forced you into his school. I love when he said, I forced you in my school. Like, so he's giving you the knowledge. You can't guess. You're in my class, so there's no second guessing or there's no more guessing. I love that idea that he's like, I put you in my world already. The first 4 bars, you're in his universe. And then from this point forward, you're going to be in KRS's world. Love it. I love that. So poetry to me is like that introduction that he's a better rapper than all of y'all, but I'm not here to out rap you. I'm here to show you a different image of what rap is. And that's what it feels like. It's not rap, it's poetry. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, poetry to me is a beautiful opening. Beautiful.
And you know, the thing is too with this cover, like you would think from looking at this cover, it was going to be more like militant, more guns blazing. And
yes.
It looks like something Public Enemy would. Yeah. It looks like a Public Enemy album.
Do not deny that Public Enemy was influenced by this, without a doubt.
Right.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. The whole appearance, the whole look, everything. It's definitely influenced.
Yeah, definitely. So on this track, you know, he starts by inviting like the listener to basically notice like the poetry that's going on. And he talks about how it's not about dissing, because so many times we get caught up in, you know, the hype around beef and dissing. You know, we just talked about MF Doom and him talking about beef. It's kind of funny how a lot of these albums kind of tie together. Yeah. But then he also talks about, you know, it's not even about the beats. You know, a lot of times that's where a lot of listeners get caught up in, the beats. Mm-hmm. And that's so relevant today. Like, you know, people get caught up so much in the beats rather than what is actually being said. So that's another thing. But in this track, he's just saying basically observe my style, observe our technique, our cadence, study the rhyme. You know, and that's what's more hip hop than that.
Wait. See, I am a professional. This is not a demo. I just love that idea.
Yeah.
I'm a professional. I'm not even, I'm not fucking around. I'm getting it done.
KRS One is the holder of a boulder.
Yeah.
I enjoy tracks like this because you can see that this is going to be the dedicated first track of this album.
Yeah.
That song holds a lot of responsibility with the artist writing it, but with the song in general. That first song has to be the one to either convey an idea, bring the theme along, or both. But this is where it's like, this first song isn't just like, I'm going to put my single up, the first song. No, this song holds a lot of weight, and you could tell that KRS One's actually telling a story, bringing his message across.
I am not a king or queen. I'm not ruling. This is an induction to poetry. A small dedication to those that might know of me. I just like the idea. It's an introduction to poetry, man.
And the
You
flow.
need schooling.
Yeah.
You need schooling.
Yeah, it's a beautiful piece too.
What do you guys think about the beat on this one? I know they sampled James Brown. There's a lot of scratches in the beginning. Like I said, I really loved the scratching here, and I thought it sounded so like, it just sounded good quality of scratching as well.
I'm sorry, y'all. It's old. It just sounds old. It sounds old.
No,
It just sounds
I agree with you.
It sounds like I wasn't born yet. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like I wasn't here yet.
I agree with you.
And
But
no
then,
disrespect to the music. I'm just saying, I mean, I'm sure at the time it blew heads off, right? But when I was listening, I want to be honest. I was just like, I feel the age of the beats. I feel it now. I feel it. And I didn't want to say that, but that's just what it is. I just feel the time, the age. The scratching is on point. Everything is on point. It's the seeds of everything I hear later. So it's like, that's where I am. In my heart, it's like respect.
Yeah,
I'm like, damn, you could tell they had very limited tools.
yeah. You can, but with to that same effect too. I like how you use the example of the seeds.
Yeah.
With that, it could be also to think too is that they are a pioneer in the regard of cutting and scratching with the samples of the. Not a lot of people were using a lot of the James Brown samples like that. It was another introduction in the regards to introducing Scott LaRock as the DJ. So that's cool in that effect too. And it's really a special treat to have KRS One be like, hey, just cut and scratch them in the beginning. You gotta get your little bit in, and then after that I'll come catch wreck on the mic on the verse.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, Andre. I do feel you. Like, yeah, some of the beats on here, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard because, like, and I'm going to have to be honest as well. Like, I'm an MC. Like, I'm looking for that beat that's going to get me, like, just like, ready to spit,
You
And
guys know you can rip to this stuff. Don't
Maybe,
come
maybe.
I'm just saying,
But
you have to acknowledge that, we do.
I listen to these beats.
How old it is.
I listen to these beats and I think about all the space I got.
Yeah.
I got a lot of space. In these beats, and I can just go like that pen's gonna get torched.
yeah, and that's what he does
Remember
here.
that.
There was enough space where I felt like he fit right in there, like really nicely.
But that's what the idea is. It's like, we are just getting started, right?
Yeah, I like that. I like that
Just getting
explanation a
started.
lot
70s
too.
action movie kind of stuff, right? Compared to Michael Bay today, right?
Exactly.
But the 70s action that we're watching is like, I know what we're gonna have soon, So it's not disrespect, but you're right. Like, I mean, in the 70s, we couldn't do a Michael Bay effect, like blow a building in half and then have a whole action scene in that building.
We'd have to have a building and a lot of explosions. It all had to be practical. Practicality.
It had to be real.
We could say that this production is very practical.
Very practical.
Yeah.
Very
I mean,
practical.
there were moments where I think he even just rushed to the studio and just like on the spot, because he also had to pay for this time. He had to make the beat, record it quickly because time was also of the essence in certain respects to their response even. So there was moments where they had to also kind of rush it a bit as well. So I'm taking that into consideration as well, I guess, but still, it's the beats themselves, it was hard for me to pick one that was like, I'm going to listen to this again because of the beat.
Bridge is over.
One of those, but okay. So, more on this, what do you think about his style, Andre? Like, I'm curious to what your thoughts are on his style here.
It's really hard because I have to shift my mindset to a certain period. And when you shift your mindset to that period, you go, damn, he was really fucking ahead. Like, he really is ahead. He sounds fucking great. Because if you're rolling off of there's these remnants of how the late 70s sounded when they were spitting. You know, right? There's this a type of pacing rather. So what I'm hearing on this project compared to Paid in Full though, right? Paid in Full had a more rhythmic, faster, trumpety type of flow, right? Whereas KRS One sounds educational, and that I don't want that to sound disrespectful. I feel like he has this educational sound. He's trying to sound he sounds hard, but the presentation to the lyrics sounds educational. Yeah. But that might be influenced by the fact that I watch his like hip hop church. So I might be hearing the instructor rap, you feel me? But as far as his flows and everything he's doing rhyme wise, I'm seeing what he was doing ahead of other people. So flow wise, I feel like he established who he is as an individual, but I want others to hear how he sounds today. I love how he sounds today.
Oh yeah. I think there was some moments in there that I really loved his cadence. I'm trying to find where exactly it was. I think it was like when he started kind of breaking down his verse or one of his bars where he was like, cause KRS One means simply one KRS. That's it. That's all. Solo, single, no more. I loved when he started doing that. I was like, oh shoot. Okay. I like that different little pattern there.
Nothing atypical. That's like not atypical rhyming either.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh no,
so
but
you pay attention to that a lot more too. That's cool. That's the cool part about rhyming like that.
But rhythmically, pattern wise, he is completely on beat. You know, today being off rhythm is almost a style. To me, KRS and everybody in this period though, they all had a way to approach the instrumental, and I feel like a lot of them said, "I need to be on that boom, 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 perfect." Had to be 100% on it. You know what I'm saying? KRS One, to me, he accents his syllables very hard in very specific spots. I don't want to get all like analytical with the technique.
But the delivery, you do mention that the delivery is very deliberate, especially
very deliberate, man. Like, no, I'm trying to find the bar, but it's like the best way to describe it is that's how the entire album. I won't say he doesn't change his flow, but for the entire album, I feel like his flow is embodied through the individual that he is, right? So he's not like doing these dynamic flow changes. He is simply rapping the way that he is as a person.
Exactly.
The best way I could explain it.
Exactly. I think one of the bars that like embodies kind of, well, let me restart that, because when you hear this track Poetry, you know, that can sometimes be interpreted as your softs even, you know, but I think the way he was able to navigate this without sounding soft even is by this last bar he spits. I do not contemplate a battle because it really ain't worth it. I'd rather point a pistol at your head and then try to burst it. I'm like, wow. So you what he's saying to me is like, okay, well, you know, you want a battle? F that. Like, let's just settle it. Like, let's just settle it. What's there to talk? Like that, you know, that's how hard, even though he's spitting poetry, you know, it's like, you want to battle me? Like, I'll just rather just pull the pistol out and blast it. So like, I think that's kind of how he steered this particular song away from being really interpreted as, you know, oh, you're a soft guy. I mean, yeah, I think this was a great start to the album.
Excellent start.
You know, because I was expecting something more like 9mm maybe to be the starting of this, but
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
It was a great start.
It was, it was. How would I say? There was a lot of class to this. It's a very classy opening.
Yeah. It's a good characteristic to have as an MC when you rarely curse, and KRS One and a lot of MCs of his ilk don't. They don't need to. There's a lot more words that you can use that are more effective than just cursing, and he goes throughout, I think, the whole album without cussing. I think in Criminal Minded or The Bridge Is Over he does, but even then, like after that, you still have him mentioning guns and violence and stuff like that. But just cursing at that level, he didn't need it, and it was early in his career. He didn't need it.
While we're in the air, man, I mean, do you feel like not cussing on a record makes you a better writer?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like I guess I would take the Eminem approach, you know, and feel like if you feel like it's necessary and you want to use it just for expression, the sake of your expression, I'll be it to you if that's what you want to do. But I do, you know, I personally try myself to not settle on such the easy rhyme as, you know, you can say a billion things with the F word, you know?
Yeah. I love that you reference M, because M was one of the reasons I never used the N word. Mm-hmm. I don't use the N word when I write rhymes.
Right.
I'm sorry, when I freestyle, I might say it because I'm black. But as far as writing rhymes, I never use the N word. And then after a while, Rakim got me into not cussing. So I just stopped cussing completely. And what happens is once you remove these kind of negative terms, then you have to fill that slot in with other better, smarter information. Mm-hmm. Right. So instead of saying, I don't like that fucker, kill him. Right. It's like, oh, no, I'm higher than that brother. I'm lifted, right? So I'm in heaven or something. I don't know. Just find another route other than being in that negative, violent perspective. And the violent perspective can tie easily with any cuss word. Like I've learned this. The more you cuss, the more likely you will go in that direction. It's really, really like math. Like the more you say fuck, shit, damn, kill, then it just goes into that direction. But when you write in a more positive sense, think, you know, just light, you know, you write good, you're going to go in the direction of positivity. Just think like Tribe almost when you write. Think like Tribe when you write, you'll go in this direction. But if you think like Necro, you're definitely going in the wrong direction, bro. So what's funny though, because this is a perfect transition to get to the next track, man, because your next one is South Bronx, right?
Yeah.
One of his favorites is South Bronx. We're getting battles.
Yeah.
We got Battle KRS One. So Battle KRS One, would you feel like he's the same guy? He's still intellectual.
Yeah, there's still roots of the original style, but it's a song that he had to get a message across. He was just like MC Shan and all those other guys, like, no, we gotta do something on this side. We gotta represent.
I feel like the first track showed you like his bark, and this one showed you his bite. That's what I feel like. Mm-hmm. And that launched. He says, you know, because of that battle, that's what really propelled his career, even, you know. And I had to learn a lot about that, like a lot about what was going on, because I really didn't understand it, you know, until we started like doing more, listening on this album. And I found it kind of funny because he himself admits that it was basically a misunderstanding on both their parts.
It's just see what happens when you don't have instantaneous information. Beef just occurs off of misinterpretations
based on a song, like totally on song basis. You have to wait weeks at a time.
The reason why he says that on Drink Champs, he says that because MC Shan, right? Is it MC Shan? Mm-hmm. MC Shan was saying like, you know, it started here. This is the monument. This is, you know, our bridge over here. This is where hip hop started. But he actually himself misinterpreted that. Because MC Shan was speaking like, as far as like from Queens, this is where it started from his perspective. And then he says, KRS One says that, you know, he himself was incorrect because it didn't start in the South Bronx either. It started in the West Bronx. Yeah. So he himself was actually technically incorrect himself. So he was just saying, internet. Yeah, he was just saying it was
both these dudes needed a fucking map.
You just needed Instagram. That's all.
But they're still beefing to this day, which is kind of funny, you know, because he's already made it up with Marley Marl, who's also gone. But at that time, he already made up with him. But MC Shan and him kept it going. Well, MC Shan, I guess, more so.
Yeah.
For like 30 years, you know, a rap beef.
Yeah. But imagine every time you see him, fucker.
I'd be more mad that MC Shan brought on Snow.
Right.
Because remember, MC Shan is in the Informer song with Snow.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Okay. I'd be more mad about that.
You already know. Right. You know he knows.
Right.
How about that? I'd be more pissed off about that.
Did you guys get a chance to listen to what started this off, like the bridge song from MC Shan?
Oh, the bridge is no,
the one from MC Shan, Bridge.
I probably heard it on early on with the beef. I forget, it was like Beef Volume 1 or Volume 2.
Okay.
But they end up talking about that. Yeah. They end up talking about it.
Yeah.
But
it was a pretty good track. I honestly think for its time it was a pretty solid track. His delivery on there was really good. But KRS One said that it was deeper than just that track because Marley Marl had turned him down, basically, him and Magic Mr. Magic
had actually
turned him down. So so it was more deeper than just that track. But once he heard that, and thought that he was saying hip hop started there, he's just, that was what pissed him off. And he said he was young at the time, very arrogant, and he felt like they were disrespected, and he had to put South Bronx on game.
Yeah, but I mean, if you consider that period of time, then I think every borough thought they made it.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just the one that was able to express what they were thinking at the time with a song. Mm-hmm. And if the song was loud enough to be heard, then there you go. So I just feel like everybody will say I started this movement. I was wearing green sweaters first before Doug Funny wore it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It doesn't matter. If you say you're first and people believe you, then you're first.
I was rocking headbands to school before everybody else.
Before Allen Iverson, I had headbands and braids.
Wristbands and jeans. Yeah, that was me.
You know what else I was gonna say about this one? How
even had the intro of the beat too.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you think about it, Mark?
It's one of the examples that I can steal from Andre and saying, yeah, it's one of those beats of the time. But not only that, but I don't know whether or not they had like a lot going on with like it was just a diss track. So I don't know if they even had, there was going to be no need for a chorus. So we could just
talk shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Just go with South Bronx, South Bronx. Which is cool because it's like, just repping your set and everything.
And
I like that.
It's like gangbanging almost. It's like gangbanging with a song.
And what they did there was they mocked the first track from MC Shan, which was it was like bridge or something like that. Yeah. So they kind of mocked that. But I thought the beat itself was very iconic.
Still, yeah.
But that goes with a dope beef song. If you have most great beef songs have a dope beat that everybody loves. That's just how it is. But to go as personal, I think personals in regards to having a rap song doing personal disses to a person, I just thought that was like interesting. I think that's probably one of the best examples of it, right? Because he's like, wait, where we at? Oh yeah. So you you got dropped off MCA because your rhymes you wrote was whack, right? So like to call it out directly, right on a person through the track. I just love that idea. I love for that period of time. Think about it. I'm calling you out like I'm fighting you for real. Right? There's no other way I could do this shit. I can't get on Insta and talk shit about you. I can't go to your borough and talk shit about you. I can't, because people won't have record of me doing it. I could go to your borough and say, fuck y'all, but it's not going to mean anything. Nobody's going to help me. So I like the idea that he can do this in a track, man. This is early remnants, though. It feels so stupid because it's like we're talking about something that broke the game, but nowadays it's just standard. It is standard, Everybody dissing everybody, Eminem dissed like at least 8 people per song.
Even with people doing it starting with Bad Blood, now you just have people like The Game who'll do it just for like a gimmick, like just to put over his album, like conveniently starting disses like right on the avenue of his new release date for his album. So there's, people are actually doing disses for like an actual thing, or people are just working the crowd to start a beef right on the eve of their release date to their album.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that when it's beef in the early 80s, when it's beef then it's like beef, like no, like I got a song to do, like okay cool, let me put MC Shan on blast.
Yeah, I totally feel him on why he would put this out too, because I mean if you tried to join what was it, the Juice Crew?
Yeah, the Juice Crew.
If you try to join the Juice Crew, you get shut down. He said they turned it into Marley Marl and to Mr. Magic. He turned it into Mr. Magic. And I guess he never heard back from Mr. Magic. And the engineer, he heard through the engineer, like, oh, he said it was whack. And he threw it in the trash.
He just heard it through word of mouth.
Yeah, so imagine how pissed off, like, I'd be pretty pissed off. And, and then you guys are promoting MC Shan as your dude. Like, come on, like I'm gonna put this track out myself, you know. I'm all pissed off now. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
South Rialto.
Stupid.
This is a seance for KRS One when he's still alive. Like, no, I'm gonna do it for him. I'm doing it for KRS One. He's no longer here in this room to help us do it.
But yes, I mean, in the fact that this is, like you said, Mark, very authentic beef. This is a genuine beef that he has with this crew, you know. And so I feel like his delivery was spot on to this beat.
Oh yeah.
They accomplished what they needed to accomplish, which was, you know, getting everybody hype about their album, and like, you know, he was able to impress them with their first go around on this track. I mean, just a great performance from DJ Scott LaRock and himself. So
just an iconic diss track for sure.
Yeah. Again, talking about, you know, that he's the teacher again. So, you know, this is who he is. You know, I've always seen KRS One as like that teacher. You know, he just has so much to.
Gosh,
he's really the teacher. Like, it's beautiful to watch him teach too.
And he's like just that scholar. But he does it in a very like menacing way still. Like, you know, which is like, it's so dope the way he
passionate man.
That. Yeah.
He's an extremely passionate man.
Yeah.
And just talking about, you know, basically how hip hop started in South Bronx. And, you know, at that time it was all about what they called it. I think they called it dance parties or something to that
dance
extent.
hall.
Dance hall. It was the dance hall. They got down.
Yeah.
Doing reggae, rap, everything.
Yeah. Talking about like how, you know, they would show up and sometimes it might even be shot up, or they might not have the power, and they would still try to make it happen.
You would do it in the basement of the PJs that you're at.
Yeah.
And then you would just have a party there. But yeah,
it's kind of crazy though. Can you imagine, like, at that time, like, to get any hip hop, you have to go to this event.
You have to be active in the community to experience it. That's all
Herc's having a party at the rooftop.
Right.
Like, you have to have heard it, got the invite, seen the flyer.
You just got to know the people.
And he name drops some of those patriarchs that were there. I think Coke LaRock was Coke one. LaRock, there was another person, DJ Red Alert. He drops.
DJ Red Alert, you know.
He talks about some other people as well, but basically just kind of giving you the idea, like, yo, I was there, I seen this, like, this is how it started off, you know. And he's basically calling out MC Shan's, you know, his basically he's just saying like, nah, that's shit. Yeah, right. And the funny too about KRS One, because this dude's been all over. He was a graffiti artist. It's been all over Bronx, you know. Yeah. So this is like, he's gonna be there. Like, if hip hop's starting, he's there.
I've seen it. I was there.
So I mean, just, you know, what a time to experience like the birth of hip hop, not really knowing what it's even gonna become. Like,
oh my God! But
believe
this. Yeah. Believe the idea though, that you're there at the beginning and you're like, something's about to happen, bro. Like, I don't know what we doing, but it's gonna happen. And he knows, man. That's what makes it so beautiful.
Yeah.
Man. So, I mean, okay, arguing over the origin points, that's fun. That's a great debate. It's a great debate. And then eventually we get the true answer. But at the time, that's what was entertaining.
Yeah.
It was entertaining.
This beef was all hearsay, B.
Right. We're both fucking wrong.
It's all hearsay and conjecture.
We're both fucking wrong.
I heard from your DJ that you said my stuff was whack. I don't remember saying that. Oh. Well, I already made the diss track, but it's going to be released next week.
History.
Yeah. It's actually already released.
He said that was whack.
It's already
released.
Saying that. It's already released.
Oh man!
So you said you had 9mm Goes Bang after.
Yes. Now this one was, you know, I was kind of debating between this one and Word from our sponsor. I just felt like 9mm had to be talked about, just because at the time, him putting out the song, like, you know, I don't know at the time, maybe there was other people that were talking from a first person narrative, but to me, I felt like that was probably pretty new. You know, talking about the story of him getting like ramsacked at his place, and all involving 9mm. And the main, like,
had to buck him down.
Yeah. The main thing that I would get out of this track is that I've pulled out of it is that he's telling you right before he blasts he's telling you what it sounds like. Wa-da-da-dang, wa-da-da, or something like that, right?
That's how
Right
guns sounded
before- right
in
before,
'87.
you
I
know.
remember that. Every gun in '87
Sound like a Jamaican dude just going fatwa on
I
you.
mean, for some reason, I feel like this is, I mean, not for some reason. I feel like this has been for sure referenced. This, even the wa-da-da-dang, I feel like I've heard that somewhere.
everywhere.
Someone's
Everywhere.
referenced that. I can't
remember?
Who was
La da
it?
day, la da 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 day.
I think
Hey,
Slick did it. I
La-da-da-day.
think Nicki Minaj did it. Shit, I think I might have heard fucking Kendrick
It's-
do it.
Was this on,
you can. Oh, go ahead.
was this on, This Is How We Do It? Wa-da-da-dang, wa-da-da-dang.
No, that's just Montel. Like in the
Okay.
beginning, he's like, oh da da da, la da da da
Okay.
da. Like he was just.
Someone's I've heard it so many times from
He
sure.
was just harmonizing some chick, and this is how we do it in the beginning.
Yeah.
But
It's iconic though.
so
for sure.
so you have a lot of this. This is just Jamaican fatwa stuff. This is just them,
Yeah,
just like.
but also they're implementing, reggae at the time.
yeah,
right.
you could see the roots that still, again, just with
Very prominent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even with DJ Kool Herc. DJ Kool Herc's from Kingston.
yeah.
So you could just tell, like, hey, look, this is just more of like who gets influenced from what.
Yeah. I think other artists have even, taken this first person narrative, such as like Nas, Jay-Z, Big Pun. Like, I feel like a lot have used that, talking from a first person narrative, whether it's a real story or whether it's not,
Right. How do you feel about the idea of the storytelling itself?
I felt like it was great. Like, I felt like he's such a superb storyteller.
Descriptive, is
Very
all
descriptive, and he still keeps the rhyme going. I think one of the first things I liked is like he knew me a crack dealer by the name Peter. So even right there, he's already kind of bending. Dealer Peter. Had to buck him down with my 9mm.
Fucking down with his name.
I know.
Damn.
KRS One, and he's just gone.
KRS
said-
One bullet.
He evaporates.
He goes on to talk about like the dealer said that he had his girl, and he said, "Now what? Are you stupid?" But he tried to play me out, and KRS One knew it. Very descriptive. Very descriptive.
Maybe Bob Dole took a lot from KRS One because now KRS One is speaking in third person.
Yeah.
So Bob Dole, I think Bob Dole is biting from KRS One.
Mark is talking about a politician biting from him, basically. But very descriptive. He reached for his pistol, but it was a waste because I had my 9mm up against his face. And
Like the last bar leads
Yeah.
back into the chorus
Right.
just before it fell to the ground. This is what I said. It's like what
Dang, wa-da-da-da-dang. So very iconic. Just that phrasing alone, like,
just rhythmic,
yeah, very rhythmic,
If
very
anything,
descriptive.
It's just, another way to get you to keep listening.
Yeah, and I don't know whether this really happened or not, but like it was very descriptive. I could believe it really happened. And I liked how he talked about like usually there was a knock at my door, but it didn't sound like a knock like of a cop.
Right.
And then he said that usually if it was a customer, they would ask me for a nick, but then he realized that it was a trick, and so he dropped down to the floor. And yada yada. But so yeah, very descriptive on his storytelling. I felt like his storytelling skills are very superb.
Oh yeah.
Early on.
Oh yeah.
9mm, the beat itself was again.
I'm sorry, I laugh hard because I know what he's gonna say. It's like,
yeah, the beat was.
It's
what
like
did you think about the beat,
frustrating.
Mark? What did you think? Because it's very overbearing, kind of like I don't know.
Yeah,
What did you think?
it kind of takes a little bit away from what he's trying to describe.
Yeah, it doesn't really. Yeah, exactly. It does kind of drown it a little bit.
Right.
I kind of wanted to
Kind of
like
speaking
it.
over it too a little bit.
Yeah.
Trying to.
hey,
I don't know.
come
I
on,
don't know
we're just
what-
getting the ball rolling, man.
But yeah.
Exactly. And let's put this in context.
we're
Wait,
not-
what makes it dope is like, go to the ghetto right now in your mind and be like, this is the best technology we have.
Yes,
This is the best technology we've had. This is the best song I've ever heard a dude do. And then unfortunately, he has like all the budget equipment.
Yeah.
Right. And this is not disrespect in any form.
Yeah,
This is
it's-
what it is.
it's observation.
It's
It's
like, yeah,
observation.
man. They
Well,
working with what they have on
I do
them,
feel like you
man.
could roll in your car with this and feel like you're bad for some reason. I do feel that, because that beat feels kind of like, like don't mess with me. Like it feels like that.
violent.
Yeah, for
I
real.
feel violent. Don't mess with me in my 9, man.
For reals. What else do we got down the list here? What's
We
next?
had word from our sponsor.
Oh, okay.
And word from my sponsor, we were jumping back and forth between this
Yeah.
one. I just thought this was a really interesting perspective. To me, it's a concept track, It's like we're just taking it like a break almost.
Yeah.
But it's a break for me to bust your ass. Pause.
Right.
And I think as far as how he's putting it together, it just feels good. It feels good. I feel like I could feel his determination when he put the track together. It's just him styling, really. Mm-hmm. It's just a dope style track. I love style tracks.
This was probably the favorite beat I liked between The Bridge Is Over and maybe South Bronx, but this was like the third one I liked out of the whole entire album.
Yeah,
and I just love the breakdown to I love the break.
But the thing I feel about this one is like I feel like it's more it's not a hyper lyrical song.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you guys are probably looking for lyrics and stuff. I just feel like the vibe. I really like how good the song feels.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines though was many people know me yet I'm known by few. My name is KRS One, son, not two or three or four or five or six. You know what I'm saying? I love that idea. Like I just feel like he's always gonna play off of who he is and what he's doing. But for that time, man, I just love how I'm the number one, man. Y'all are all secondary. Y'all ain't on my level, man. I do like that, man. But yeah, this is one of those tracks I was just like I was stuck on. I just kept letting it loop and I kept playing. I was like, man, this is some shit that's like this is one of the ones I'll be like, why wasn't this like a single?
Right.
But I don't think it's a single. It's just for him to style on you. Take a break and style on you. I think that's dope.
I like how he mentioned in this track too, like he's like, I only wear Nikes, not Adidas or Reeboks. Like I was like, dude, hey, yo, we could dap it up because I wear Nikes too, dude. Yeah. I don't know.
Calling is a little, but I'm saying like he's giving his perspective.
Yeah.
To me, it's more so giving the perspective of the teacher, right? But he's just saying, look, I'm just chilling, man. We're just taking a break.
I do want to ask you, since we brought up this line here, with kicks and MCs, like when you see an MC and what kicks they're rocking, does it change your perception of that MC by the kicks they're rocking? Like if I was wearing Bapes compared to like Nikes, am I a different MC because I'm wearing Bapes? Like, would you still rock with me because I'm wearing Bapes? Or
I'm more concerned about what you do in the cipher.
Okay,
right?
You know, like,
no, for real. Like I'm
but if
more
it's a battle, you're giving me all the ammo I need.
Right, I don't care about your kicks, man. I want to know how you use your paintbrush.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like I would rather see you paint than look at your shoes.
Okay.
Me personally, I feel like fashion is important though, because you wanna see somebody talking this wisely and have a visual connection to how wise he appears, right? And if he just looks like a street scholar, then okay, it still gives me a better visual. But if he's wearing like wearing frills and shit or something that the Isleys used to wear, bro, like, you know, the feminine ass blouses and shit, would you listen to that MC the same way, right? If a MC was spitting with Prince's clothes on, you know, would you treat him with the same level of respect? Fashion does matter. It does. But your kicks do not determine how well your bars come together in your head. True. I'm sorry. True. It just doesn't work that way in my head.
Does it? Maybe I should rephrase the question. Does it tell you the style of MC you're gonna hear?
Ooh.
Oh, if it's Clarks, if they're wearing like Wallaby Clarks, bro. The next question you don't even have to ask. Like, they're from New York. You don't need to ask it, or they like to think they're from New York. If they got Clarks on, if they have Clarks on,
if they have Tim's on,
Croquettes.
If they have Tim's on, they're most likely punching you in the song. You know what I'm saying? If I see an MC with Tim's on, I'm expecting violence.
But if they're wearing
they're wearing the Kanye's,
what if West Coast cats with like Forces?
All white Forces.
Cortezes.
So if they're Cortezes,
you know you're getting shot. You're getting shot.
They're in the cipher for the wrong reasons if they got Cortezes on.
If they got Skechers though, if they rocking Skechers, man, I feel like that would also indicate.
Yo, son, you got the shapes up. You got the shape ups on beat. Yo,
you got the pumps. You got the air pumps.
I don't even think. Do we have like a West Coast signature shoe?
A West Coast signature shoe?
I don't remember.
Like, I don't even think so. Like, but to see the thing that really gets to me on the East Coast side is like Clarks. I remember Manifest, rest in peace. He was bugging out over some Clarks. Manifest loved to talk. Joel Johnson. Manifest always talked about how it was like, yo, I'm from New York. I was like, bro, you were born in New York. No disrespect to my boy Manifest. I love you, bro. Rest in peace. But bro, he was born in Brooklyn, came to California, and he was bugging over these Clarks he got. And I'm like, bro, like.
Dude, a lot of people wear Hector too.
Hector used to wear Clarks too, man.
Yeah, they rock them. I remember,
but there's an obligation to spit if you're wearing Clarks because it's Raekwon, Ghostface, like everybody in the Wu-Tang Clan, like closely associated to some Clarks, man.
Right.
Me and my niggas rock Shaqs.
Shaqs.
We have the Shaquills, son.
You know, you're gonna
damn ones.
You're gonna dominate the cipher with shouts.
If you're over in Oakland during the time Latrell Sprewell was with Golden State, wearing the Dada joints with the spinning 20s on them.
Yeah, yeah. You don't remember that?
No, I mean, because I was already jumping on another thought, but like I was just gonna say with the shoe, I don't know what would have been our signature West Coast shoe.
I don't know what the signature West Coast shoe.
So maybe if somebody knows,
enlighten us.
That's not.
Where were we? Oh yeah, so we're back on this track.
Where KRS One mentions the footwear he's wearing.
Yeah.
This track, even going with I like the fact that he's mentioning more times than necessary for a good point.
Yeah.
Who he is, who's his DJ, and the Boogie Down production crew.
Yeah.
It's always one of these tracks where you got to put over people that are a part of the clique. It's not necessarily all about him in this song. There's a lot of songs that are just all him rapping with Scholar Rock just cutting and scratching a little bit more KRS than him. But this is a cool little.
The same effect might have happened with me and Zay. It's just, I kept listening to it and I was just like, there's something about it I just want to talk about,
Yeah.
And I think it's just a good song.
Yeah.
It gotta be. It's not super hyper lyrical.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt the same way too. I just wanted to add 9mm in there so that way we could kind of touch on it.
Yeah, no, I got you.
This is more of it. Like speaking of the track title, we're from our sponsor. It's like an advertisement onto what KRS One is with his crew on that.
True. I love the way it started. To be honest, I mean, it started with like a didn't it sound like a beat?
No, because they're getting you they're doing a transmission.
Right.
So it's just getting you ready for like a word from our a break.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly.
And metaphorically, the sponsor could be God.
Right.
So it's just them being dope, man. It's just I love the creativity of that period, man.
Speaking of that, I got to mention this with KRS when I was listening again to that Dream Champs interview. He talks about how he doesn't mind it if somebody else even writes the MC's lyrics, like he was asked that. Just because he's KRS One, like they want to know what he thinks about it. But he said he doesn't mind it. He goes, spit that dope-ish, spit that. Hip hop needs lyrics. I don't care if it comes from your mom's. Spit that, And I was just like, dude, he goes, when I write, it comes from God. God is the author. He's like, man, his philosophy is so dope, dude.
Yes, his philosophy is delicious. If I would say, if there was an accurate term, which is like you want more, you want to digest it, you just want more. And but it's funny. His channel today, if you guys check it out, it's really good. He just makes it feel like church almost. And I don't know if he deliberately makes it feel like church, but he's just like, no, I gotta get you guys here. The 5%,
baptized,
right? Yeah. So he gets you into the 5% mindset, the universe, and everything, like how the universe is mind. He's very, very essential to the idea that hip hop is what he would consider a religious and spiritual event. Like we're inside of a spiritual event. And that's what KRS One is trying to emphasize. So this break here, to me, I just feel like he wanted to be cool style for a little bit and then keep it moving.
It's funny too, because I feel like he's still a relevant voice in hip hop. Because even in that,
I can't wait for him to talk.
Yeah, even in that Drink Champs interview, they're asking him important hip hop questions, and Noriega, he was like, Drake, I just saved you. You're welcome, because KRS was just like giving him the stamp of approval. Yeah. I mean, that's who he is. Like we look to KRS One like if he was like a Nas, he's one of those dudes.
He's Obi-Wan in A New Hope, 100%. Where he could still catch wreck for sure.
Right.
But the best part about him is that he's seasoned, seasoned veteran.
Yeah.
Been a part of it through it all.
All right, let's see. We got so we moved on from word of our sponsor.
So next will be remix for P is Free. That's the one you had.
Is that
next,
one already
right?
next?
Wait, no, cool. Did you have that though? That was yours, right?
I did have that one. Okay, so I had P is Free. So I didn't choose the original P is Free because there's an original one where he's like rapping over like a beatbox. Yeah. And I believe that was one of the ones where he made it really quick as the B-side to South Bronx, I believe. So there's a remix version of P is Free, which I thought was done pretty well. I thought the beat was actually pretty cool, different style than I'm used to, but it felt kind of reggae-ish again. Yeah. I did like it. I did like the beat. This one, again, he goes in with the storytelling again, talking about, and then just to summarize this track, it's really kind of during a crack era.
Yeah.
And he's talking about, how he's experienced, I think this is a real story, but how he's experienced girls trading sex for crack rocks.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy, but, this is what's really going on in his perspective of the world here. I felt like his description was very I felt like I was there almost. And he talks about, there's a couple of lines here where he talks about, so I saw Denise, but I was only assuming, took another look and that butt was booming. Did a little trick on my freestyle fix. So he's like impressing her on his bike or whatever. And I was right beside the girl. She was all on the tip.
Yep.
She said, "Hi, DJ KRS." She kissed me on the neck, so I gave her a peck. She jumped on my bike, and I said, "Huh, what's your next stop?" And so I love how the story is going on, right? It doesn't stop. It's not interrupted. It's not coded.
Yeah.
It's directly telling you what's going on. She said, "Right around the corner to the crack spot. If you buy me a crack, I'll know how to act. But if you don't, you might as well step back." I'm like, damn,
Meeting
dude,
a baddie,
ruthless,
meeting a little nice little
but,
lady.
I
She just wants
mean,
you to take her to get some crack.
I could totally see that. I mean, crack itself is one hell of a drug, and girls have been known to
dive
be
in,
hooked,
to
be
dive
hooked on
in.
it
That's the
before,
word, dive in.
But it's kind of crazy because and I think Big L was famous for saying like some dudes would have been a virgin had it been for crack.
Yeah.
Some
dudes would have been virgins if crack never came out.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. But this is again just showing,
It's a
KRS
snapshot
One
of the epidemic. It's a snapshot of the times in the area.
of drugs and how accessible it was. It was, you could just go around the corner to the crack spot, pick it up, and if you didn't, a girl's like, "Well, forget you. I'll find another dude that does." Like, it's pretty.
Because somebody else gonna move me there, right?
Someone's
I
else
got
gonna
you.
do that.
Somebody
So,
gonna do it.
Process
Process of elimination, right?
exactly. On this track as well, I was gonna say that. Oh no, never mind that thought. But I just feel
it's
like
too deep for y'all.
it's
Not ready.
The premium version of That's Hip Hop available on the
On our Patreon.
on the Patreon.
Yeah. You get a deeper dive with these songs.
No, but deeper. Yeah, but I was gonna say the beginning of this track also. He starts with a little cool. It's not really a chorus. It's kind of just like I feel like he would do this maybe at a party or something just to get the people moving. Like you rule hip hop, Mr. Lee. You can rule hip hop. In the 357, you could rule hip hop. KRS rule it nonstop or something like that.
Getting the crowd into it, baby.
Yeah,
Crowd
very
participation.
cool chant just to get people moving, grooving.
Yeah.
Perfect track. I think if you were to bust this out at a party scene, like this track would slap. Like, I feel like it easily slaps.
Could be the first song he does in his set.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
Oh
surprised.
yeah, exactly. Perfect.
Won't be surprised.
Perfect opener. That'd be dope.
You just switch the cities up and you'd be straight.
And so I think that I don't know if this video is working or not, but
Says you're gonna have to delete some
You're
storage.
gonna have to
out of
delete
that.
some
great,
footage.
Great.
So
You're
we got.
gonna have to make some space.
Should we like pause really quick here while I do that really
So you want to
fast?
freeze
Yeah.
time real quick?
Okay.
Just-
Okay, we're back now. So we just had to make a small little minor adjustment. All good. So we left off talking about PS Free. We were talking about how KRS One was saying like a part where people, just to move the crowd basically, talking about, we rule hip hop, so you rule hip hop, blah, blah, blah. Pretty dope track, all in all. Great storytelling skills here demonstrated. What do we got next on the list?
what we got? I think Bridge is Over is next, right?
Yeah, I think that's
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
be
you're right.
the one.
The Bridge is Over. The Bridge is. I'm not gonna lie, guys. It's a bias. It's the beat. It's the beat. It's really the beat. The beef. I mean, as far as the beef is concerned, it's one of my favorite beef songs. I just remember this from my childhood. But the beat itself, the instrumental, is one of those things that's just been in my history. I don't know why. I've heard this beat so many times in my life through family members, friends, freestyle events. Something about this beat is just in me. I have the beat. It's in my soul. So I just love the beat. But as far as the song itself, I don't want to diminish any value of the song. It's a beef song.
If you hear a lot, if you actually listen to this album in its entirety, there's actually going to be 3 or 4 instances where you can see where Mos Def takes a lot of his verses from Black on Both Sides from this album. So like Manhattan keeps on making it, Brooklyn keeps on taking it, Bronx keeps creating it, and Queens keeps on faking it. He uses that rap sequence in, I believe it's Hip Hop, the first song. But he uses that same thing, and then even in the beginning of the MF Doom uses the holder of a boulder. Yeah. He uses that.
Folder.
So there's like this song, along with a few other ones that we've reviewed. I forgot to mention this off the jump, but there's a lot of like roots to where people take quotables from Criminal Minded and have used it, and that has given this, even with this song being the diss track that brought everybody from Boogie Down Productions onto the map. You could see that it's still, despite the diss track itself, there's still just roots of like MCs taken from this, taken from here. Yeah. And that's what makes it timeless. This album it's only certified gold up to this point, 500,000 sold, but that doesn't ever take away from the true legend that this album is. Mm-hmm. Even with the Bridge Is Over, you could tell like he's just straight, even in the beginning verse, it's already taken on Shannon Marley Marl. Yeah. And
fearlessly.
Like picking up the mic, man. Them don't know what to say. Saying hip hop started out in Queensbridge. Saying lies like that, man. You know them can't live. Like just still going to the roots. Still trying to. But trying to put that point across.
To me, this is because if you guys watch any of the I think it is Beef Volume 1, but this is like a really big song in the world of hip hop. This is like an infinite song. Yeah. It's like an infinity ring. If you have this song on you, then you're good, you know? I think it's the roots of a lot of what we see later in the future. I'm a battle rap fan. Y'all already know. So, you have to look at the idea that, battling on the track is deep. It's really deep for the time being, Because if you want to go into different genres, I've never heard a beef jazz song, right? I out jazz you. I haven't heard very many rock diss songs. There are some, though. There's some subliminals. Yeah. If anything, you will say rock was more subliminal than hip hop was. Because somebody might, Megadeth might say some shit about Metallica secretly and you don't know. Right. But as far as, I know my borough, I know your borough. I can shut your borough down because I know you guys didn't create hip hop.
Yeah. And it'd be extremely deliberate. Extremely deliberate. To the effect of naming the MC that you got.
I know who I'm talking about. Right. I don't know. I'm not going to miss my shot. I know my target. Yeah. The fun part about rap is my target is this person. And this is why the target is going to die. That's amazing. Rock didn't do that. Rock didn't have the balls to do that. As dark and crazy as rock is, they didn't have the balls to destroy another band, until you see it later in the days. Punk bands go against each other. But anyway, this song in particular, I feel like it is a historical figure. It's like it's a statue. It's a statue in the rap game.
The Bronx keeps on taking it. Brooklyn keeps on faking it. All that. That's actually from Black Star's album. In the intro, the intro to the Black Stars album, redefinition. Redefinition.
You say that?
Yeah. Because Brooklyn keeps on taking it because something, all something, give me back. Many cats are struggling and hustling and something like it's in the Black Star album. It's not on Black on Both Sides. It's on the Most Def and Talib Kweli Black Star album.
I do find it interesting too that KRS One actually wrote this before South Bronx, which is also pretty interesting. He wrote this first, and then DJ Skylar Rock was like, "Nah, man, that's too like reggae. It's not the right response." Yeah. So he had to like put it aside on the shelf, make South Bronx, and he had this one ready in the chamber. Like,
it was just another bullet.
Yeah, it was another one, and then MC Shan came out with what was it Stop That Noise or something like that, and that itself was another banger. KRS One said that one was banging as well, so we had to put out this one. But the thing they did different with this one is I think they changed up the beat. It wasn't they changed up the beat, and KRS One is the one doing the piano, which is crazy. I
didn't know.
He goes, if you listen to it, I'm messing up all over the place, but you can't. No one said nothing. You're like, it's just you got to go with it.
I don't know what it is. It's something. It's like a grind, like Pharrell's grinding beat. Clips. I almost forgot their name.
Yeah.
It feels like grinding in a weird way. I don't know why this beat, like I said, is just everywhere. It's so simple. It's so
but yeah,
simple,
it
but
feels
it
menacing
is.
at the same time. It feels menacing too.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. How could it impact so hard? You know what I'm saying? Like it hits. So yeah, this one, man, it's just like it swims in my mind, man. I love this song.
The beat too, he said, was a beat that he used to do in the shelter. I guess when he used to like hit the roof or whatever, like same beat, same thing, but he just did it on the drum machine. Ooh. Crazy.
Oh man!
So he was definitely used to that, that rhythm, that beat.
Oh my God! What I would do to see the '80s exactly as it was with futuristic technology,
right?
Because I'm not going back to the 80s.
Yeah.
No, but see, the thing is, what's going to happen is that you're going to get lost back in the 80s, and then you're going to start rhyming, do all the lyricology stuff.
Just start from scratch.
You're going to screw up our timeline now.
Our whole thing will be
like KRS One's going to be all chrome and robotic. I'm the ultimate rapper.
Yeah, just like, what was it?
KRS Chrome?
Just like the Rick and Morty, that episode with the puppies or something, or they came back with robots.
Yeah,
exactly.
Bro, your lyrical style's going to screw up the timeline.
The snake episode. There's an episode when he like, snake episode's crazy.
Wasn't he trying to get wine when he went back in time to get wine?
Oh yeah, and every time he goes out to the portal, like a decade would pass.
Exactly. So
you can't do that, bro. As much as you'd like to, I mean, you
fun.
drop lyrical miracles. People are like, Nas who? Like lyricology's here. Like, yo,
I'd be the guy talking about the future, like not even thinking about it. Be like, oh man, you sound so much like Elzai. Who's Elzai? You sound like Kendrick Lamar. Who's Kendrick Lamar? Like.
Oh man, you'll be like Marty McFly taking like their names, like Clint Eastwood and all that.
No, I have all the rappers' names before they get them, making people change their name for my personal gain and shit like that. But no, Bridges Over is fire, man. Bridges Over is a heaven's kiss.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too far. Everybody knows this song, man. This song is just embedded in the culture. It's like the Beef documentary in itself, man. But yeah, man. I think what we had next for the favorite was Criminal Minded.
Yeah, let's take a break on this one. Okay. I think this is it. This is the last cut in that we're doing.
The last time manipulation we'll be doing for this podcast.
This is the only time he's going to be on triple time for editing.
Exactly. Yes. So we left off. Andre was bringing us into the next track, which we had, which is
title track, man. Criminal Minded.
Criminal Minded is the next one. So. Mark, you had chosen Criminal Minded. Andre, did you choose this one too? Yeah, you chose
I did choose this one. Yeah, I did. But I was gonna pick Elementary over Criminal Minded, but then some just said no. Title track. Yeah, title track means everything.
True.
This is KRS One's ultimate lyrical display. Mm-hmm. On this song, I mean, even off the jump, Criminal Minded. You've been blinded, looking for a style like mine. You can't find it. They are the audience. I am the lyricist. Sometimes the suckers on the side got to hear this. So it's like he's establishing a point. It's the bars are
my English
very deliberate. It's beautiful. It's beautiful like that. This is
my English grammar come down like a hammer. I just as like base level as we are, man. It comes down like a hammer, son.
He's one of the few rappers that actually raps how he normally speaks.
Mm-hmm. True.
And you could like when he's actually like talking, it's very clear. He's enunciates very well, and it still translates. He accommodates that for when he actually rhymes too, and that only makes his lyrics more stand out more because you can hear what he's saying, and he doesn't like to rush anything either. So this is one of those. It's a showcase for his talent. This track itself, Criminal Minded, is a definite showcase for his talent.
See, kings lose crowns, but teachers stay intelligent. Mm-hmm. Talking big words on the mic, but still irrelevant. Mm-hmm. You don't exist, especially when you're not in college. Especially when you're not college material. Wake up every morning to your Lucky Charms cereal. You have no bread. You're broke. You're not college material. You're not college material. You don't have the knowledge to do the verses, so you ain't getting bread. So of course you eating cereal, man. I love it. But the visuals also, you're eating Lucky Charms. Like, good luck. Mm-hmm. Good luck, bro. Like,
I'd want to be the fly in the room when you wrote this.
Exactly.
Like, just because he's like, it's one of those instances where you're writing, you're just like, yeah, like you just get real jazzed about what you write.
Get excited. Like, once you hit a certain bar.
I would rather be a human being in the room that he would like be friends with?
Actually,
That would tell me what he was doing. I don't want to be
I'd
a
rather
fly.
get on the track.
I'd rather rap with him.
I'd rather be him.
I'd rather be him than
As Ghost Riders, dude.
I want to be the pen. I want to feel the ink come out of my body.
I want to be the bic he held. I want to be the big pen he held.
Pause.
Like,
Wow.
or
Pause.
or freaking KRS One's. He has a feathered quill. He's like, I want to be the inkwell.
As he dips it into
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be the parchment, the paper.
So, because one of my questions to this album as I was listening to it, because the whole album is titled Criminal Mind. And so I was trying to like answer this question, like, because he's a very knowledgeable dude. Does he really have a criminal mind? Like, what was behind that? Is he in a criminal mind state here, or?
Please excuse my ignorance, okay?
ahead,
I'm
go ahead.
speaking from my perspective, not the perspective of KRS One.
Okay.
But criminal-minded does relate to the idea of poverty being in the hood.
Okay.
Criminal-minded is, I don't have the same opportunities as you, and I am smarter than the average white man of the day.
Which would hit home perfectly here because he is describing all the things that's around him and his surroundings. So
Yeah.
Right.
So
it's home. Yeah.
and it's that kind of title with the actual disc, with the cover art, would lead you to believe that KRS One is,
A gangster.
but he definitely isn't. And it takes you to listen to this album to realize that, to, well, like, hey, actually this guy's way more than he presents himself. I like how that's kind of more like a magician reveal as you listen to this album.
Yeah, yeah.
To where it's like, you could see things I'm presenting to you, but it's definitely not that. And wait till you hear it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
you
criminal-minded
guys
to
answered that
me,
for me.
it expands the idea.
Criminal-minded.
Criminal-minded, if I could like simplify it as its most base concept is, okay. I wanted to get a better idea. I was going to say something ignorant, but it's just black independence. Because in this period of time, especially in this period of time, we did not have the same opportunities as other people. So criminal-minded to me feels like it represents every person that you would see in that borough. Because every person in that borough is not going to have the same opportunities as somebody outside of these hoods. Just, that's
Looking
real
for a
life
way-
to my
looking
perspective.
for a way to get theirs too. Yeah, yeah.
And then
I can feel that.
criminal-minded, to me, if you're going to look at the bigger picture, if he wants to be a Black Panther, all he wants to do is protect his community and uphold it.
Right.
And from the perspective of somebody outside, they look at a Black Panther and say, criminal.
Criminal.
So he's,
Oh,
What a
well.
description. Yeah.
feel me?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just what I felt, man. I feel
Could
like
be the
that's
mind
it
of what
is.
the people think about them.
Yeah, yeah. And the way it looks even on the cover.
Right.
Right. So, and then remember, man, this is like, Cats was trying to be more clever than you could ever believe you could be at that time. So that's just what it was, man. These are the Lupe thinkers at that time, So that's just how it feels to me.
I love that. Okay. Cause that's what I ran into. I was like, criminal mind, but he doesn't sound like a criminal though. Like, so I was like, I was just puzzled by that title.
It's a clickbait title, y'all. I'm sorry. It's just clickbait, man.
It's just clickbait.
It's clickbait, man.
He knew the
Criminal-minded,
internet was
self-fucking
going to be here eventually. So
Right.
yeah, wait till
Wait till the internet drops.
lie. Righteous companions. They don't want to see that
the return
shit.
on this investment of this title will pay off. 30 years.
Nobody's going to buy an album called Good People or some shit
You know
like
what? I'm gonna have a thing.
People.
I'm gonna have a
Arrested
sound effect
Development.
on
It
here.
sounds like Arrested
Two
Development.
brothers, like Rick and Morty, two brothers.
Wait, that's it. Just two brothers.
An
Two
Arrested
brothers.
Development
Two
album,
brothers.
Good People.
Yeah.
I am just good people.
We gotta think of some. We gotta think of some sound effects we want on this because we could play sound effects. Like I'm thinking about the 30 years thing, maybe.
Stupid 30 years.
Oh yeah, because
KRS
that's
spit
going
bars
to
that
be
you won't get
most
for
albums that we deal
Yeah,
with.
we
This
always talk
album's
about 30
almost more than
years.
30 years. You do that.
Some other ones we need on this.
You'd have to go to that YouTube
I'm gonna
video
send you
that
the
we talk
clips.
about
I'll
all the
send you
time.
the. I'll send you some clips.
Then,
We
man.
need something to
The-
drop. We need one for Andre, his stamp of approval.
Oh yeah, just a
Yeah.
and then do the Metal Gear Solid notification.
yeah, that's a good one. That's a
like
good one.
every time a breakthrough
That's a good
starts.
one. That's a good one. Okay.
The
Okay.
the Zelda, the Legend of Zelda. Every time he opens up a treasure chest, doo, 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 doo.
Okay. Stupid. I gotta start writing this down.
Yeah.
dude.
Some Star Wars noises in there. just random
R2D2.
2 years into this, awooga, awooga. Take your top off. Awooga, awooga.
Kablam! Just
Oh man! All right, so let's.
You were the chosen one. Every
the clip.
Yeah, for every
coming.
for every prominent rapper, you were the chosen one.
That's a good one.
in real,
You were
but
supposed to bring balance to the force.
in all honesty, though, just to bring it back to the album, we having fun.
Yeah.
Bring it back to the album. It's like the seed is here, but I want y'all to go to the future. Just come back to the future. We're in the past now. We're back to the future. Right. I want you guys to listen to all of KRS's new shit, man. Listen to his new shit, and then just come back here and go. He's planted seeds from this album all the way to what you hear later. Yeah, and that's what makes those albums so fucking powerful. And it's powerful music.
Yeah, and to just try to find the like the best part to describe like the definite potential of Scott LaRock. Like he died due to some unfortunate circumstances, and it's just it's a true tragedy because you hear his skill set in all the songs that he's able to cut and scratch and sample. You definitely get that idea of potential within this whole album, and it's just one of those.
He didn't really even get to enjoy the coming out of this album. Really, I think it was like only a week out that happened. So
this goes into what KRS One, like how we talked about earlier, of like of a divide of like what ifs,
right? Because he goes on a different path after this too. Starts talking about stop the violence.
Yeah.
So he starts going in a different direction.
It almost plants a new seed.
Yeah.
It plants a new seed.
So
and I think that's where we went from there.
Yeah.
And then everything you hear from KRS One from that point forward, I don't want to sound bad about this, but it's like if you're outside the circle of KRS One's music, you look at him and go, he's just a typical, like, I was at the beginning historian type rapper. I don't feel that anymore. I feel like I feel like he's beyond that. I feel like he's rapping and he's preaching and he has another layer that I don't think we're like all the way in to understand yet. Mm-hmm. But as far as his technique and what he's doing, he's representing every aspect that he's always talked about of hip hop. And he just simply says this, we must improve. And he does that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So KRS One is more, as much as I love him as a lyricist, I really enjoy him as a teacher as well. He has very interesting and innovative ideas.
There's not a lot of MCs that can do both of that. Too. Like him, I would say KRS One, Chuck D. And it just depends who you can get down to do a sit down interview and like is able to talk about all that. Like anytime when we were talking about Paid in Full, like Rakim really can't describe a lot of the stuff because it's like, hey bro, I was just writing, I was just doing this. It's like they're really to themselves in that regard.
Yeah.
Where KRS is more like an open book. And
but with KRS One and Chuck D from Public Enemy, like Chuck D actually had he was actually doing college courses. I don't know if they were hip hop related, but they were just like, you could tell that this guy was a literal teacher in that aspect. Smart. And to the same effect of KRS One, they're both designed for that. You don't get that with many. Like to me, it's this Nas is too reserved to be talking and teaching like that.
Yeah, he is.
And there's some people.
Pause. Sorry, I have to interrupt you. Yeah. He did do a master class. Do not forget that.
Oh yeah.
Nas did a master class, and that was weird. It was rare.
Yeah.
I didn't pay for it. It's too much. But yeah, no, he has a master class. Nas actually did a master class of the whole video presentation, the writing style, everything. He did a whole school for it was one run though. It's not like he's still doing it.
Yeah.
But it was just the master class. So I'm sorry. I just had to correct you in that regard.
Yeah.
Because somebody would have said it in the comments.
Wow. I didn't know you did that. So I mean, now we went over our 3 tracks that we liked. I mean, to summarize this, how would you guys, even try to summarize this album? It's
planting the seeds, planting the seeds for later MCs to just take and be like, hey man, this is the album that put me onto hip hop. This isn't going to be the album that garners a bunch of sales numbers, but it's going. And even when I say that, it's certified gold, 500,000 sold. But you also got to remember is that the rights to this album has flip-flopped to so many people that re-releasing it, you have a timetable to re-release it every time you own the rights to it, because you have to wait till the old re-releases are done and expired for you to then re-release it on your own. Right. So now it's like, now you have to wait for re-release dates and stuff like that. So
can I piggyback off the idea as well, though? I mean, this was 1987. The genre was still new, still blossoming and growing.
Yep.
For it to be gold, it took a while to get there, by the way. But for the amount of albums that they sold at this time, I mean, please, you have to consider where they released it from and how far it could get in our nation. I think that's really, really important. I don't know. There's certain generations that just don't have the concept that you have to hand deliver something called an album to somebody.
Yeah, and then
have
even
physical versions available for somebody to grab and purchase.
Yeah, and even after through all the hurdles of like who actually owns the rights to this, they're still able to get 500,000 sold.
Facts.
Which, even at its going back to just describing more about this album, just a classic in its own right.
Facts.
Classic in its own right. A timestamp of the location and the era, and you definitely get a feel of the crack epidemic, dealing that with the stories dealt within the songs that we discussed.
Yeah.
So yeah,
legendary.
I just feel like very iconic as well. I've always just looked back at KRS as being that teacher, like for hip hop in general, as that kind of like that mentor, that teacher, because he was there, early stages in hip hop.
There.
So you have to give that some weight, because he was, but also the way that he's able to elaborate on hip hop and the culture of hip hop and everything like that. Like, I just appreciate that aspect. Like you said, it's not only just the rhyme skills, but what he does off of that as well. Like
depth,
that you appreciate.
Depth.
The fact that I heard him today, that gives me even so much more appreciation for the fact that he's been able to evolve, from here when we were listening to his debut album in 1987.
Yeah.
To now, like you said, Andre the Dude's rapping like,
like our father,
kind of like how I rap.
Yeah.
He's rapping like he's rapping in that style, which to me, I'm kind of mind blown by that. Actually, I didn't know that. I was thinking he still kind of had a similar rap style to this, but like just newer beats or something.
I blessed him. He just played the new joint. He was like, oh. So that's trust me, the newer shit is nice, man. I don't want to overhype it. Just simply go into it with the mindset that you have. It's KRS One. It's just gonna sound like the 80s. He's going to blow your mind over.
Yeah.
It's just not over. He's gonna blow your mind over.
Right,
it's gonna be in a place you don't expect it to be.
Right.
But as far as his teachings are concerned through the music, he's an expert at teaching. And with this album, no disrespect, but I'm gonna be honest, it's just it's dated. There's time against it.
Yeah.
But what he did at that period is like nobody could have done at that time. And we needed him to do this shit.
Yeah, we did.
We needed this because to me it's Paid in Full and it's this album. And they're almost brothers in a weird way because they both did the same shit in a weird way.
Yeah.
They changed Rakim and Eric B. I feel like they changed the idea of how rhythm is approached, right?
Yeah.
It's more rhythmic, but there's depth and there's layers. And then I feel like what KRS was doing was I won't say impersonating a teacher, but I'm embodying a teacher. I'm being the teacher and I'm giving you perspective. I'm not giving you advice. I'm not teaching you. I'm just giving you perspective. And that perspective is so strong, it changes what you do. That's crazy.
I mean, the way I look at it too with this album, if this album had not come out or South Bronx or The Bridge Is Over had not come out, would we have had such an artist that was inspiring like Nas? Because he was down in Queens.
Yeah.
And Nas is like, now let me show you what kind of skills we got.
Yeah.
Took it to another level. Like, would that have happened, or would Nas had that chip on his shoulder still? I don't know, because I know that was still a big deal to everybody in Queens. The fact that KRS One said what he said about Queens.
Yeah.
Through MC Shan, unfortunately, but Queens took a hit because of him. So even that, like, would we have gotten Illmatic had it not been something like this?
These are the questions that you asked, but luckily we're a part of this the universe that actually got this aspect of it.
Exactly.
Thankfully,
Exactly.
I don't know where I'd be without Illmatic because Illmatic is going to be a doozy that we cover eventually.
Oh yeah, Erratic's coming, man.
Okay, so thank you guys for rocking with us again. You know, this is a fun journey that we're on. I appreciate my brothers, Andre and Mark, and we thank you guys for your support, for your love. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Please stay blessed. We're dropping episodes every Monday. Every Monday. So feel blessed. You got some?
Yeah. It was going to be the cannabis episode that I was going to share this with people of the audience and with you guys. But you know, I did this on Come Sit With Us around March. But this was near the anniversary of the passing of one of my very good friends, Joel Johnson, Manifest. He was one of the people that taught me how to rap and just got me going with rap. And it's a true tragedy that I lost him as a friend. But if there's ever an instance where you guys feel that you guys are ever in need of help, it's up to you to a certain extent to help and reach out. I know it's complicated, and what I'm saying is just a brief generalization, but there are people out there to help. And I just always just use the tribute of his passing to make mention of that in any platform that I get the opportunity on. So, Joel, I know you're listening in the celestial wireless of the universe, and I love you, and I miss you. So
rest in peace, Joel.
Rest in peace, Joel.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, with that being said, everybody, thank you guys for rocking with us. Remember, we're dropping every Monday. We just love you. We would love your support, and we're going to keep doing this thing.
Yeah,
keep
and if you don't like it, we're going to battle you.
Yes.
We'll battle you with the
battle you
on the net.
Battle you in the flesh.
All right, everybody.
Battle you while I'm sleeping in the bed.